Welcome, folks. Jake, would you like to kick us off?
Yeah, sure.
Oh. I
Why?
always have to make a dumb joke. I'm
Because
sorry.
because I look like Kevin McCallister.
Yeah, I'm going with that. Mostly because, yeah. I'll go with that. That's fine.
Hi, everybody. This week's movie is Home Alone. We're starting off our December Christmas-a-thon
Jingle
with
bells.
Home Alone.
Yeah.
That I just said previously. Yeah, it's
Who stars in this movie?
Macaulay Culkin. Which, here's my question. I'm going to start you off real rough here.
Sure.
Name one other Macaulay.
Macaulay Johnson. Macaulay Smith and Wesson.
I get that he goes by Mac, and I know a Mac, and I'm pretty sure it's short.
Wait,
for,
does he actually go
Mackenzie.
by Mac?
Yeah, people call him.
Yeah,
Mac.
I know Mac. I know he was a Mac. I think that was his actual name, though.
Yeah, but I've never name any other Macaulay. I'm gonna Google it.
I mean, I didn't know any Joaquins until Joaquin Phoenix.
We're not sponsored by Google, so I'm just going to search for it.
Oh, yeah.
Or if
using internet
any companies are listening, I could be
search engine.
It.
Bing. Wait, we're on standby. I can keep talking while you're searching if we want to do that.
Why don't you read us through the tomato meter?
Oh yeah, the thermometer for the Rotten Tomatoes. So, yeah. Home Alone, 1999 is the year it came out. It comes in at do you want to guess? We did this before. Not to kill the anticipation for our audience. Maybe it drags it out.
I'm gonna say an 89%.
Okay. For the audience. Were you guessing both before or just one? Yeah, you were.
I guessed both. I'll say audience is 89. I'll say critics is 85.
Yeah. Way off. No. Well, audience was 80%, so not too bad.
Okay.
I guess people like it. I mean, it's kind of a holiday favorite for me, hence why we picked it.
It's a classic.
And critics, they'll give it a 66%.
Ooh.
So quite a bit different, differential compared to what you had.
I was correct in the critics not liking it as much as the audience.
Mm-hmm. It's still favored, I look at it as kind of, an A is in the 90s, right? Kind of like when you're getting graded. So that to me is a solid D from the critics, which means it's borderline rotten, right? But not really.
I mean, I think it does have that nostalgia factor for me. I grew up watching it, so of course I have a soft spot in my heart for it. But I can kind of see where the critics are coming from. There's a little bit of plot holes there.
Oh yeah, I have the same feeling with the nostalgia, and I think with all the movies that we want to do for this month, it's got that behind it a little bit. So we're gonna come at it with a bit of a bias.
Right.
To start, we should, full disclosure, being transparent here with any of our listeners out there that I will be biased in our choice of movie picks here.
Right. Play the alarm sound that lets people know that you're being biased.
Oh yeah, is there a bias alarm kind of thing right here?
So a couple things that I caught this time watching it that I didn't catch any of the previous 30-something times I've seen this movie.
Yeah.
They talk about how I think it's his dad's brother just got a job in France, and he paid for the tickets and why they're all going out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a mystery as to what the dad actually does to afford that giant house.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I was trying to figure out the family dynamic. All his cousins
I do this.
there.
I do this every time I revisit it. Every time I watch it.
I feel like his brother Bud and maybe his sister Heather are really the only two other kids that live there in that giant house. Mm-hmm. But they don't really specify between cousins and brother. We only go into Bud's room to see the tarantula and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. There is a family picture at one point.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has 3 siblings. I think it's 6 people.
Okay.
In that house. So there's 11 kids total.
Right.
So therefore, I think it was 4, 4, and 3 maybe, or something like that.
Right.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was, because I briefly looking at it, I'm pretty sure I counted 6. It could be 5 in that photo, but I want to say it was 6.
Okay.
But I have the same question with the father, which I've listened to some like film theory stuff on what the father does, maybe being like some sort of mobster, gangster, or some ties to it at least.
Here's what I'll say. Hey, it's 2020. Maybe the mom was making all that money.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's not 2020 in the movie, but like, it could have been a cahoots kind of thing.
True.
They could have been in cahoots with the Wet Bandits. We don't know.
Ooh, now there's a twist for you there. Yeah, maybe.
They lived in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
They knew everybody was going to be gone. It could be like a big insurance scam. And that's how
they like hire these
scams.
Yeah. And that's really why they want to get back, because Kevin's left home alone. He's going to spoil the
there you go.
Yeah. Because I'm like, whoa, but they left him behind, but that was completely an accident. I want to be like, or was it, quote unquote? Right. And I'm like, no, actually, it had to have been, because it would have.
They could have had him killed.
Oh, there. See you go. Yeah. Which it brings me to one of my points here is that Kevin's a bit of a psychopath for all this stuff, right? So, and then the stuff he says to his mom. No, I mean, some of that could be legitimate.
It's not an
stuff
ideal
kids, 8-year-old would say,
child relationship.
Yeah. But I think Macaulay Culkin does a good job of portraying that character.
Yeah.
It's just pretty impressive for how young he was at the time.
Oh yeah. All right. He ruled the early 90s.
Yeah.
Ruled them, I say.
Yeah. Ruled. He sat high upon a mountaintop in a castle, looking down upon all of us who are similar age.
Yeah. He had his Richie Rich money.
The Richie Rich money too. What else about that? Oh, yeah. So something new that I realized with the family is every time it was, my brother, I knew the bald-headed brother was, sorry, I said brother like a bunch of times, but his brother, that I was like, is it that guy? But he's cheap. And then they bought him tickets. And then I realized you only see the other parents when they're in France. Right. And I realized there's 3 brothers that I'm aware of.
Right.
And only 2 were in the house. The other was already in France because and their kids were there because of the school. So they stayed going to school.
Right. He had just transferred over there, and they were getting like the house and stuff set up.
Yeah, but I thought that guy was there, but I'm like, why is he so cheap? Maybe he's cheap. And then so they have the one brother who's cheap, the one who has a big house there, one in France who's forking over money for them all to come over there. Right. So the 2 are doing well, and then you have the one cheapskate one. Right. Like, this is real crystal. Take it. Put it in your bag. So I revisited that again and made that connection that was obviously there the whole time. I don't know why I couldn't get that, but
right.
Yeah.
Some creative things that I liked that they did with the like spills the milk or whatever, and the passports with all the napkins, and that's why they don't have that.
Yeah, I put them in the microwave. Didn't he toss one out? He tossed out what looked like a plane ticket at least.
Yeah, I think it was a plane ticket for Kevin.
Yeah, which then I think made sense for all that.
And then the head count with the neighbor kid that comes in.
Like, just so ridiculous. The whole time, every time I watched it, I'm like, especially being a dad now, I'm like, if I knew my kid was rifling through somebody's stuff, every time it happens, I go, Joel, I better not find out you're looking through someone's drawers or something. Like, come on.
And then they have the tree branch that cuts the power, which is why they're late and also why the phone lines are out. Mm-hmm. But so they originally like try to call neighbors, but everybody's gone.
Yeah.
They call the police to do a like welfare check or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they don't see anything, which is
the house looks secure. Okay.
Yeah, which is odd because like it's a missing kid.
Tell them to count their kids.
Yeah,
okay. Like they think it's a prank or something.
Yeah. And then like there's you don't follow up again. You don't like make another phone call. You don't like try your neighbors again. Well, I guess in that one, when the Wet Bandits go into that one house, they hear the voicemail. Sorry, answering machine, they called it back then.
Yeah.
Of him saying, "Hey, we're still in Paris, blah blah blah." Something, I don't remember what the dad says. But like it just feels like they put all their eggs in the basket for the mom to go, but then the rest of the family shows up minutes after she went through the whole.
Yeah, that one's a little weird, but the whole kind of like B story of the mom getting back is, I think, there to make sure that, well, one, that there's some more time to kill in that movie,
right?
But that they're not complete heartless,
neglectful
people.
Parents.
Yeah, but it does kind of come to the point where it's like, oh, what else am I gonna do except fly back in 2-3 days?
Right.
Because I am here now.
Right.
There's.
But okay, so they get the power working, and the phones come back. Like, why don't they just try and call Kevin?
You think he'd answer the phone?
I think they'd probably have an answering machine, and he could hear, "Hey, Kevin, it's your dad.
Yeah.
Can you pick up?"
Did he try to call? Or they didn't show that. I mean, we knew that the lines were down.
Yeah, hold on.
He thought that they disappeared.
Yeah,
that's the other thing.
Yeah,
because he runs out and he doesn't go, which is funny. Because I think some of the criticism is he's smart enough to do the booby traps, but he sees the cars and doesn't go, "Hey, maybe they took a van to the airport." Right. But you know,
these
whatever.
People used to live
he's
here, but
8.
now they're all gone. So yeah, he's a kid. It's the Wet Bandits, probably my favorite bandits.
Mm-hmm. They have such good chemistry. Daniel Stern and Joe
really
Pesci.
I loved it. Like Joe Pesci's the cop at the beginning, like scoping out the joint.
You know, I don't even remember that from when I was younger. Yeah. And when I saw it, I don't know if when I was a teenager I saw it, because I did watch it a couple times.
Right.
And then I knew who Joe Pesci was, like, as other movies and everything. Or if it was finally when we were watching with my son, you know, in the last 6 or so years. But regardless, I was like, oh, that's very interesting and like a good way to, and he lingers there for a long time.
Right.
Because he really wants to like get some of that information.
Right.
But if you're seeing it for the first time, you don't know that.
Yeah.
He's one of the burglars. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. And they're Marv and Harry. Yeah, just really great chemistry with those two. Yeah. Kind of a shocking role for Joe Pesci to be in, but he does it really well.
Yeah,
and it's a little slapstick, a little outlandish for some parts.
Right. Well, in the concept, like we already talked about, it's far fetched.
Yeah,
with the kid, but then you have the burglars.
Yeah, it keeps it in the same world.
Yeah, so it's. I feel like you had something else to say. I interjected.
I was on that train and then I jumped off the tracks.
Sorry, my friend.
No, it's
I feel like I pushed you off those tracks, but
no.
There's stuff like the chemistry with them because when I watch them, like just actors acting, I'm always thinking about, in that moment, how are you delivering that line? Because I can't picture myself doing it. So I'm trying to put myself in their shoes in that moment and just like, what's the lines on the page look like compared to how they're delivering it?
Right.
And just, he sends Marvin to check if anyone's home, and then the whole snake stuff with the shooting happens.
Right.
And he comes back and just him sitting there and be like, snakes, I don't know no snakes. It's like the way he's thinking about it. I'm like, you have to pretend like it's just, but it felt so natural. Like when I'm watching them, it's such a small part, to like break down here, like an actor delivering lines, but I feel like it's just, here's some of my evidence for why I think their chemistry was so good, because Daniel Stern can come in, say this thing, about some crazy thing that happened, and then Joe Pesci just goes right into it. It feels totally believable,
right?
Just because they're delivering
talking about.
Yeah, exactly, and they're in that cat burglar world, and then he says the thing about, wait, hold on, what if we get fingered for something, and we heard about a murder, or they heard about a murder and trying to get information out of us, so let's wait around. So which goes into kind of like the plot. We'll stay around and check it out. I don't know. Yeah. Sorry, I rambled a bit there.
No, it's good. A lot of very dangerous things happen to the Wet Bandits. Don't try this at home, kids, kind of stuff. But like he does a pretty good job at defending the house. I mean, I'm surprised at how much damage those burglars took. I mean, I guess it's like a Disney movie, so they've got to keep it relatively tame. But there's an S-bomb in there.
A slight one.
Yeah, and it's not even Joe Pesci that does it.
And there's some and there's some dams in there. I think it's not really that bad. Yeah, and I forget now. Because if that was 1990, that was probably right after they had PG-13. So is this PG-13? Because of that?
I don't recall. Looking.
Because I know the 80s were definitely, I think it was like 88 or maybe it was 90 when the PG-13 ratings
it was PG.
came about. Okay, so with the shit in there... Just the one. Maybe it was early 90s. PG-13 came out. I don't remember.
Right.
Because I feel like that one would have given it a PG-13. Do you think Kevin is of sound body and mind?
I mean, is he a little... Okay, so, I mean, I personally as a kid got left at a 7-Eleven once for like 5-10 minutes. And to this day, I still bring it up to most people that I talk to that are new in my life. So I gotta imagine, like, there's gotta be some therapy that Kevin's going through for the rest of his, like, life.
I'm gonna jump ahead here, and if this is canon, but there's 6 Home Alone movies. You know this? Geez. 6th one just came out.
Right.
I watched it. My son likes it. Yeah.
Because
I didn't like the 3rd one as much. My son likes it. But by the time it came out for us, I was just past that age of, like, I think believing into that stuff as much. And then 4 and 5 were straight to DVD type thing, I think.
Right.
Or TV. Yeah, whatever. And the 6th one just came out on Disney Plus.
Right. Yeah.
And so we watched it. It's okay because there's some stuff in there that you go, oh, okay, that logically would make more sense. Like the kid is worried about telling the cops because he thinks his parents are going to get in trouble and then he's going to be orphaned. It's kind of the worry.
That makes some sense.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like there's stuff I'm like, okay, that's a little bit more logical than just, oh, hey, their cars are still here. I made them disappear.
Right.
Which I feel like an 8-year-old could still kind of believe.
Right.
But the canon part, because you mentioned, so they have Buzz in there. He's a cop.
Okay.
Which is funny. And then there's McCallister Alarms, which is run by Kevin.
Okay.
So he has his own security company.
That's
which kind of also makes it kind of makes sense.
Maybe I'll check out that one.
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin doesn't make an appearce in it. He's not. There's no cameo, but Buzz, the actual actor who played Buzz is in it. And there's like, for example, they call in the kid, like calling the police and being like saying something about it, and being alone, or I forget how that actually did come in. And Buzz calls them. This thing is like, no, you can ignore that. That's my brother. He goes into like, there's 2 years where this happened, and so every year he calls in like a prank call. It's like he's trying to prank his brother, and so that's like written off. It's a whole thing. Plus, it's a different movie, so we can move on. But there's a little bit more canon in there.
Okay.
And
I'll check that out.
yeah, that there's some weird times in movie sequels there. Yeah, this has a lot of sequels.
So the one thing that I really got really interested in, but kind of stood out to me on this watch through was Scarlett Johansson's in the third one.
Yeah, she's
Crazy.
younger.
Anyways, the thing that stood out to me about the original was the old man, and how like there's the rumors that he's a murderer or whatever, but then Kevin sees him in church, and they like have a nice conversation, and he explains his own troubles that he has with his son, and it's nice that they like. I don't know. I feel like Kevin needed a sounding board and some sort of advice to like get, and he's really the only adult that Kevin could reach out to. Not even in a logical sense. It takes the old man actually coming and like sitting next to him and like, you don't have to be afraid of me.
Yeah. The whole like time with the old man in the movie was just weird. With it was almost kind of like, why don't you just say hi? And then he does eventually, but like he looks creepy.
Yeah,
it makes weird faces. But I guess if you don't know, that's
my kids don't come around anymore.
Yeah,
I wonder why.
Yeah, I think it's a nice little moment. It's kind of like in the second one where he befriends
there's always kind of an older mentor.
Pigeon lady. Yeah,
I feel like Kevin gets more out of them than his actual parents, because they keep leaving him places.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know that he does well and ends up making a security company.
Well, I guess
thousands of dollars of therapy he had to go through.
Yeah.
Getting terrorized by bandits through multiple cities.
Running in the same the bandits that would do a number on you, right?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I have, because I mentioned this before and I didn't write them down for this one, so I'm trying to come up with what's one thing that I kind of mentioned it, but is there something particular that you really hated or could have done without? And then like, what is your most favorite moment for this movie?
Let's see. I mean, I love the third act, really, which is just all of the chaos. That's still funny to me. Like, it's not so funny to the point of like it was when I was a little kid of, oh, the bandits are getting it. It's more to the point of like Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern's performances are just really good. Like they're slightly over the top, but they're not, they're still believable to a point. In the IMDb trivia, I read that, again, not sponsored by IMDb, but if they wanted to, they could.
Yeah, why not? Just toss us a little.
I just like, anyway, in the IMDb trivia, they mentioned that Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern were both kind of on the fence as to whether or not the movie was going to be a success. So they purposefully like went over the top with their performances.
Oh.
And I mean, I think it really balances well and like plays well to the overall kind of feeling of the movie.
Yeah, not I was gonna say theme, but more like the mood or tone.
Yeah, the atmosphere, the tone.
Yeah.
So I mean, that'd be favorite. Least favorite, I don't know. That's tough. I mean, there's a lot of like Kevin goes to the grocery store kind of things. And it's him like trying to be an adult, and he's like, "I had those TV dinners."
I was just thinking about that moment too, because
like I don't
his delivery on it. He's like, "Oh, I got a coupon."
Yeah,
and then she's like, "Who are you? Are you here by yourself?" And he's just like, "A kid in the store by himself." I don't think so. He says that like twice. And then, oh man, there's some stuff like that. Obviously, in the sequel, that is almost as copy pasta, it feels like.
Right.
Because there's like lines like that. And then the other.
I love that everybody hits that statue
Yeah.
Whenever they pull up.
Yeah, the recurring thing. Oh, stuff like payoffs, because we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
The tarantula was a payoff, right? I don't.
Payoff.
That's the one that sticks out to me. I don't know if there are too many, but doing a setup and
I mean, they have the subtle ones of them like throwing away the airplane ticket.
That's true
and that kind of sets up
to help as make the plot seem more reasonable when all these things kind of convalesce.
And I mean, with the beginning being kind of chaos with everybody running around, and then them being late and the added chaos to that makes it plausible for them to kind of miss that Kevin's in the attic for some reason.
Yeah.
And they forgot him, but they didn't know that they forgot him.
Yeah.
But
she like was punishing him basically by going up there and then realizes later on the plane, oh, that's the thing.
Right.
That I felt like I forgot. And we've all had that. Maybe that's where you feel like you forgot something. It's just not usually a whole person.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess
we've all been forgetful.
Yeah.
But
it's
hey,
bad, though.
I like the theory that they are in on it with the Wet Bandits, and we're just trying to get a bunch of money from their neighbors, and then also making themselves the victims so that they can avoid any suspicion being brought on them. And then the Wet Bandits cut them in a little bit, and that's gravy. But then Kevin thwarts all their plans.
Can I give my favorite and least favorite?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe
Sorry.
I don't. No, you're good. Because there's a lot of little things in there like Daniel Stern's screams.
Oh yeah,
are laughable. It's pretty good. But I don't know if I would pick that as the thing. I feel like mine are probably going to be leaning more towards what feels sentimental, and I understand the whole plot's kind of dumb, but that moment just when his mom gets home and he's looking at her, but then it looks like he's mad, and then she's like, I'm sorry, and then he just smiles, just like feels good, even though it's kind of like, I don't know if it should be that easy, but I don't know, I like that moment for some reason. But then to go for the part that I hate is then the whole family shows up right there, which feels like, oh, that's kind of cool, but then kind of ruins the fact that moment felt kind of nice.
Yeah.
And then they burst in there, and then which maybe it fits with not driving the tone to be all like, oh, it's so happy because, hey, we left you behind.
Right.
But also then kind of comedical because the family actually shows up at the same time and she didn't have to do all that stuff.
No, I agree. It shouldn't be that easy for him to just
Seems
be like,
so
you're
easy.
home.
Yeah. But it might go towards the, like, if you're gone for so long from someone that it feels good to now see them, that despite that, it's good that you're now here. So especially because he still thought that they disappeared at that point anyways. So
is her coming in saying, I'm sorry for you making me disappear?
Yeah. Wait, yeah, I didn't think about that.
Like, there's never a realization that Kevin has that he's like, he just thinks they're disappeared. He doesn't realize that, like, oh, they left without me.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, Kevin.
At least we don't see that scene.
Yeah,
maybe it's true. There, but
and then the siblings are surprised that he did so, which is kind of cool. He had a little bit of an arc there where he did do the adult stuff and was out in the real world.
Right.
Person, whatever. But then they're all just like, wait, you did this? Oh, right. And then we'll do it again in 2 years or next year.
Got our plane tickets to New York already.
Yep. Well,
any final thoughts?
Just to recap, maybe that there's some nostalgia baked into here.
Absolutely.
Growing up in the 90s, and also I was the youngest of 4 siblings, so it seemed like there's some similarities to having a big family feel chaotic and not having something that traumatic though to relate to. But and then the performances, I like the movie. I think it's a good movie, not a great movie. It's not like a artsy fartsy nothing, but it's fun to watch, and I have a kid now who can enjoy it.
You kind of have to watch every December.
Yeah, I always watch this. I think all the movies for this month are the 5 of the 8 that I would normally watch.
It's one of those that if it's on, I'll sit down and watch it.
Funnily enough, it was on at the dentist today when I took my son.
There you go.
And then the second one had started up after, like by the time we left. And so he was standing there watching it, even though we just watched it together. So, yeah. You have any final thoughts? Close us off here.
Just pay attention to your kids, Pay attention to your kids.
I like the words of wisdom a lot better. Some
if you're
sound,
a kid
sage advice.
Who's home alone, that's a big get out of jail free card with your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like, oh, I wrecked the car, I took it out, I was too young to drive, I broke out in the middle of the night and drove the car. Like they can't be mad at you because you can throw, oh, remember when everybody went to Paris and left me here for Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
You've got some leverage there, and use it, kids. Use it.